Bobby, for sharing your story in that way. And had you been at Emmanuel years earlier, we would have maybe met in the halls, because I'm a graduate of Emmanuel, quite a few years ago now. And but yeah, fond memories, of the community that God orchestrated there, right? You experienced it at one level. I got to experience it as a young man, as a student, right? And that I was living off campus. I didn't live on campus. I'm from the Kitchener area, and but appreciate your journey. Your journey is very different than mine, Bobby. But I just know God has a purpose, right? Every time that I'm asked to go somewhere or do something, right? God has something else in mind beyond what I'm just envisioning, right? He just does, right? And I can say, for me, one of God's primary purposes in bringing me here is not only to talk a bit about the Gleaners, but to be able to hear what Jesus has done in your life. And so I celebrate that. Had a connection to Celebrate Recovery, too, down in Paris. I'm from Paris now, and Anyways, so good to be with you, and to reintroduce a few of you who have been out to the Gleaners before and been in that trimming room doing things prior to COVID. I landed at the Gleaners after COVID. Okay, so I haven't been around like a long time at the Gleaners, but I got coerced into coming onto the board of the Gleaners by a colleague who lives around the corner from me in Paris. So I was a pastor for a good number of years, and I was stepping into retirement. I just felt God nudging me to step back from full-time ministry in Paris. And when my friend heard this, he said, "Ralph, there's a couple openings coming up on the board just about the time that you're saying your farewell, So, and I had him at the church, to talk about the Gleaners, right? And so I knew about the work that God is doing through the Gleaners. And so then I came on board there. So anyways, as I said, I'm from the area here. I was raised at Central Baptist Church, which is now Resolute Church down the road. So raised in a family, German immigrant family. My mom's story, she was a German living in Poland, and then of course the repercussions of Hitler and the Russians and all that stuff, migrated into Germany. And then my dad, his history goes back to Hungary. So he was part of a German family living in Hungary. And then in 1956, when the Russians came in and were clamping down on everything there, that's when Dad and one of his brothers and a couple of their friends, they got out of there. And then ended up... Somebody's beeping.
Is this a medical thing?
Oh, okay. All right. Very good. All right. So my mom and dad, they met in Stuttgart, got engaged in Stuttgart as young adults, and they got married at Central Baptist Church in the basement, because that's all there was when they arrived here, was the basement. And then my dad actually helped. He was a carpenter by trade, and so he helped to build Central over there. I found out I left fairly early after I was finished at Emmanuel, ended up in Edmonton for a while, and then in Toronto, and anyways, Barrie and around. But that my younger sister, 6 years younger, she had a number of friends, and I think they picked up some guys here. That's the story. Or they came over to Central and got a couple. Anyways, that's the story from back in the 80s there. So I don't know if you would have been a part of that.
Oh yeah, I know several.
Do you? Okay, so, all right. Anyways, okay, back to the Gleaners. So we gather surplus food, right, from around us here, generally within about an hour and a half radius of Cambridge is where our facility is located. We gather that up and then we use it. We process it. right, through our facility. And anyways, maybe I'll, here we go. Should I have a controlling thing?
Yes.
Do you trust me? Did you see the songs lyrics today?
Sherry, I like control. Could I have to go to counseling? Is it too late? Anyways, okay, that's great. Thank you.
If
So
you'd
there.
rather, if you give me a cue, I'll do it.
Perfect. Okay, I'll try and follow, my notes here, try and pick it up a little bit here. Anyways, so who we are, we are a Christian charitable organization. There are numerous Gleaners around. We're not the only Gleaners around. We're located in Cambridge, but there's 3 others in Ontario. There's I think 3 in Alberta. There's a new one that we helped to start up out in Winnipeg just 2 years ago. We met with people at our Gleaners who came in to glean from us information about how this all works and what we can do. And so it's exciting to be a part of that. Let me show you, for those of you that have been at the Gleaners. Now, if you were there prior to COVID, then you will see that the building looks a little different now. There's been quite a significant addition that we have put onto our facility just a few years ago, so the post-COVID. So those of you that were there before, you'll know the first part of the building, right? But then the back part is where we've had to add on quite a bit of warehouse space. We've put in new coolers because we stored our finished product and even sometimes vegetables that had been donated to us and that we were in the process of processing but hadn't got to yet in trailers. How many of you remember trailers outside of our building? Okay? Yeah, when I got there were trailers there. I remember our manager, Elaine, saying to me one time after a board meeting, saying, "Ralph, do you have a moment? Could you come out with me?" So, and then she took me outside, and it was sort of late fall, early winter, and she said, "So this is what our lift truck is driving over to get to the trailers to pick up the stuff to bring in the building, and then when we're done and we store it out there, and like they shouldn't be driving on dirt." These are tow trucks, like tow motors. Anyway, so she said, we need to have a better warehouse. We need more cooler space to store the vegetables that farmers donate to us, that we receive from processing, like from distribution centers. We also get vegetables from distribution centers. And so then, she presented it to the board. We were scared by the $1 million plus price tag, for this addition. And so we met and we prayed. And we just said, well, God, if this is needed, then you're going to have to, show us how the funds are going to come together, to do this. And I kid you not, God so orchestrated things that we went ahead. We had a couple of people come forward who were willing to lend us some money at virtually no interest, right, to help us. We had a certain amount that we banked, right, that we could put towards it. And so then we began the work. We said, well, it's got to be done. It just has to be done, if we're going to continue to serve the Lord in this way. And so we did. And from the time we completed that building, 1 year later, the bill was paid. It was done. So God raised, it was just an amazing testimony of when God's involved in something, it doesn't mean it's always going to be easy, but the Lord just orchestrated the funds to come in to be able to pay for that building. So that's the addition bill. All the back. Coolers are in here now. Warehouse with proper racking systems, right, are there that we're able to use. And then the trucks, we had a new truck thing, You would appreciate that, Bobby, right? Like to back in properly, to load and unload. Anyways, so we're just so thankful for that. Okay, Bobby, you mentioned a couple of Bible verses in your testimony there. Okay, so now here's our Bible verse. I mean, gleaning it's biblical. You know the background, right? Back in Leviticus, right? That practice that God instituted among His people when He was, leading them into the Promised Land, and then He gave them these instructions as He was blessing them with this new land. And so in Leviticus 19, verses 9 and 10, God said to His people, "When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap your field right up to its edge. Neither shall you gather the gleanings after your harvest. And you shall not strip your vineyard bare. Neither shall you gather the fallen grapes of your vineyard. You shall leave them for the poor and for the sojourner. I am the Lord your God." What's the most famous example of gleaning in the Bible? Ruth, right? Ruth and Boaz. Okay, so that's what the whole ministry is built upon. How we began. So we began with a group from a church on the other side of Cambridge, Christian Reformed church, that had heard about something happening out in the Okanagan. And so they gathered a group of people, some adults, some youth, who went on a mission trip. And they worked at a gleaning facility in the Okanagan in 2004. And they came back feeling burdened, going, "I think we can do this. Like, wouldn't God want something in Ontario like this, where vegetables are gathered, where they're processed, where they're dried?" And you can see our packaging here, right, in terms of the soup mixes, and where we can bless others in that way. So it took a number of years to get all their ducks in order, but in 2008, they opened up, and operations began in a building that was constructed there. The board was in place, they were incorporated, and off they were to the races. So that's a picture of the first board of the Ontario Christian Gleaners. All right, there you have a before and after. So probably, right, the original building there in the top picture, and then what we currently have now. So what we do, we have had over 170.9 million servings have left our building since 2008. So servings, as in like servings of soup. We do. We collect food, first of all. We get vegetables from growers in the area, from farmers, broccoli farmers, sweet potato farmers. From the Holland Marsh, sometimes we get some stuff that gets brought down to us. But we get a lot of, like a number of local producers, who donate their produce to us. And we also get it from distribution centers, so like a Loblaws distribution center. They've got stuff that they're not going to put out, on the floor, and so then we get to have it. And then we've had in the last couple of years, we had a relationship that came about with, you guys spend money on those little tiny potatoes, the Little Potato Company. You guys get those? Oh, they're good, aren't they? Right? We love when we get donations from that company. Right? Because we can just open the bag and just dump them right into our washer, and away they go, ready for, we don't have to take time to trim off the bad stuff, right, in terms of these vegetables. So we're thrilled about that. So we collect, then we trim, we dice. We have a dicing machine, that takes what we have trimmed in the trimming room. I think all of you who have been there before were probably busy in the trimming room, right? And that's where I've been and helped out there. Then we have a dicer, and then eventually it goes into a dryer, and then we package it, and then we send it off. So there's some people in the trimming room, And I'm going to show you a quick video in just a moment. The other thing that we do is that all the scraps that we have, the stuff that gets trimmed off that isn't good enough to be put into our product, that gets dumped into a trailer that we have out the back of our building, and we have a farmer or two that they come along and they take that stuff and they'll feed some pigs. So we just keep using it. Anyways, send it off. Okay, there's our dicer, a guy working with a shovel and the dicer. By the way, that's the next thing on the agenda for us, I've been told, is that we're getting to that stage where we're going to be needing to replace or augment some machinery, including the dicing machine and potentially the dryer. That will be a big purchase. These machines have been working hard for a good number of years now.
So is that the dicer behind him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he's getting it ready to put into the dicer. You will see this. I'm going to show you a quick video. Then we dry it down. So there's the conveyor belt that goes up, and you will see exactly what happens there in just a moment. And then we have our packaging that takes place. We have a number of different recipes that are used, and so then our vegetable mix gets packaged in these bags, and then we get them sent off. So my question is, how many servings does one bag of our vegetable mix make? This is our main product, right? This is what is primarily leaving our building. And it leaves in cardboard boxes or big drums, right? Sometimes they get packed into drums. How many servings? Guess? Anybody? Come on, guys who've worked there before.
20.
Hasn't changed. 20?
100?
I have 20,
25.
100, right? Once you rehydrate this and wherever it goes, like the different countries where it ends up, they will have things that they do as well to make it more their own, right? And so, but there's 100 servings that come out of that thing.
Wow.
All right. Okay. So there you go. 100 servings. Okay, I think it would be good if I could get to that video now. Can I get to that first video, which is a virtual tour through our plant?
Welcome to the Ontario Christian Gleaners, located in Cambridge, Ontario. Operations at our building began in September 2008. Since then, millions of servings of food have been distributed around the world. Our Gleaners volunteer family ranges from teenagers to 95-year-olds. We work collectively as a team to prepare a large amount of vegetables every weekday. Thanks to the generosity of food donors, volunteers, and our financial donors, our production has grown every year. Up to 10,000 pounds of vegetables are processed every morning, producing up to 40,000 servings each day. Where does all this food come from, you may ask? 100% of the fresh food is donated by growers, food processing, and distribution centers, all within a 1.5-hour radius of the Gleaners building. Before the produce is trimmed, it's thoroughly washed in a produce washer, or as we like to call it, the veggie jacuzzi. This ultimate vegetable washer uses a bubbling action that removes any excess dirt, then drops into our squeaky clean baskets and ready for our trimmers to prepare. In the trimming room, our volunteers remove any blemishes on the produce, leaving the vegetables nutritious, delicious, and edible parts intact. At the Gleaners, we believe in optimizing all parts of our produce and contribute to a green initiative. The scraps from the produce is dumped into a trailer out back where a local farmer uses it as fertilizer for his crops and feeds his animals. After the produce has been trimmed and washed in the trimming room, it is taken to the dicer. This powerful machine dices the vegetables instantly into smaller, hash brown-sized pieces. Off to the drying room. The bin of produce is tipped onto a giant conveyor belt and filters through a heating system to dry the produce enough to a point where it's safe to package as a dried mix. The dryer processes approximately 1,000 pounds of produce per hour. From start to finish, this process takes about 1.5 hours to fully dry. Once dried, it is stored in drums until we are ready to use it in the packing line. In the packing room, we have a team that scoops a variety of different dried vegetables to create our vegetable mix. The mixed vegetables are poured through the funnel into our 100 serving size bags, heat sealed, and then prepared for shipping by packing into boxes, pails, or drums. These dried vegetable mixes are used for more than just soup though. They have been used to make empanada fillings, veggie balls, vegetable spring rolls, veggie sauce, and so much more. The creativity doesn't stop with these mixes, which is why it is not only nutritious, but can also provide a variety of delicious dishes. The Ontario Christian Gleaners serves over 45 different countries around the world, thanks to many mission and relief development organizations that have the infrastructure in place to oversee the distribution, will fund the cost of shipping, and share the gospel. Millions of meals leave our building each year, thanks to our donors who have funded our efforts. Whether you're part of a church, business, or decide to support us individually, we thank you. With your prayer and support, we can share God's love and heart to people who may or may not know Him yet. We can nourish the people God calls us to take care of by not only feeding them physically, but also through the work of our mission partners spiritually with His Word. If you wish to be part of our wonderful team here in Cambridge, Ontario, you can sign up on our website at ontariogleaners.org any weekday morning from 8:30 to 11:30 a.m. If you wish to stay up to date with our latest updates, fundraising, and more, you can visit our website at ontariogleaners.org or catch us on our social media, which is Instagram or Facebook at Ontario Gleaners.
So, bring back some memories for a few of you that have been out to the Gleaners, right? And sign up on our website if you wish to come back out again. But just an encouragement, sign up soon. Sometimes days get filled, right? Because there are people who have been coming for years and years, and they just say, well, I'm part of the Friday group, or I'm Tuesday, right? I'm a Tuesday group person. But come. We've been blessed in being able to expand some opportunities so that we're able, we try to coordinate an evening opportunity for those that are working yet, so that once a month we try to have a window from 7 to 9 p.m. But go on our website to get the details there in terms of when that happens. Because we've had Bible study groups, come to us and say, we'd like to come and do this. But, we got people that they work, right? And but there is opportunity. We have expanded, our production has expanded quite significantly over the last year to 2 years, because we have people who have volunteered. We have 3 staff people that we pay salaries for. But all the other work is done by volunteers. It's all volunteer driven. We do not charge for the product. Like mission groups, they get it free, right? So the funds we raise help to pay for the production of that product, packaging the product, and then we give it away, is what we do. They are responsible. Every mission group that comes to us in terms of using that, they're responsible to ship the product. They need to have things in place, finances and people and such. And so we have a committee of people that will go through every application that we receive, and we will do our very best to ensure that they have everything in place that will make sure that this product gets to where it's supposed to go, whether it's an orphanage or a school or church, hospital. We've sent stuff to hospitals, like in the Ukraine, in Poland. We've had lots go to the Ukraine over the last number of years. So that's Gleaners, I'm trying to think if there's something else to share with you. What time do we have, Gareth?
No, that's time.
11:43. Okay, all right. So, do you have questions? Before I share one more testimonial video, which will take you to a group in Guatemala that has used our product in mission outreaches there. It's a beautiful story of how God works, through this soup that we send out. But if you have other questions, I'll take a few questions at this time. Yes?
I'm just wondering with our seasons, how you work with, how you get your product in the various seasons.
It just seems to keep coming. We pray. Our director, Elaine, and Elsa, our assistant there, and Sean, he's like you, Bobby. He's our facilities guy, right? He makes sure that things are running right and things are clean and all that stuff. We ended up having a sweet potato grower that was retiring, that was done. And so we were going, okay. And, the next week, we got a call from someone, a grower outside of Burford somewhere. And they wanted to send their sweet potatoes out. We have coolers. So we have 2 different coolers now set at slightly different temperatures, so that we can store product. If we're not quite prepared, to deal with it, then we have some room now where we can store stuff that's given to us. Sometimes we just have to say, we're full. We only have so many people. We only have so many hours, in terms of you working with the product. And so then we say no, but generally we have a place to store. We get it. We work with it. And we pray. Like when things are harvested, then we get more. And but in these months, it's been busy in January. Like we're not sitting around on our hands. We got knives going, and the dryer's running, and we sent off. I'm trying to remember the most recent shipment. I think went off to Haiti just a few days ago, and prior to that, we sent some to Cuba, and I think, Anyways, so it just seems to keep going. Yeah.
Our church has a ministry in the Philippines that you provide.
Yes. I'm trying to remember the name of the gentleman that takes.
John Coffey.
Yeah. Anyways, great. I've heard great stories, and I've seen some video footage from the Philippines, of the work that they're doing there with our food. Yeah. Yes.
Who pays for the shipping? How do you manage that?
The shipping. We have a smaller truck that we use to go out and sometimes get the produce that's donated from farmers or at a packaging plant, a distribution center. But the shipping, in terms of the mission groups and humanitarian organizations that we vet, we make sure that they have the money in place. They have to pay for the shipping, right? They're responsible to pay for getting the product from our building to where it's supposed to go. But we do our very best to make sure that everything is in place for them. Like we work with Samaritan's Purse, and there's other mission groups, right, that come to us. And they've been doing this, a number of them, for years now. So I saw another hand, I thought, yeah.
Is there any possibility?
Sorry, I'm not. You're going to have to use that microphone, just like I do.
Is there any possibility that you could do the same thing with fruit? Is that in the future?
We are hopeful. Like we have done. There's been a few times where we have gotten apples, right? Where we've dried apples down and we've made separate packages. So if we do that, then we offer that separately. We let mission groups know about that. But it's not our primary product is the vegetable soup mix. So I know there's other Gleaners. I think the Niagara Gleaners that started up a few years ago, they will do a bit more fruit in their facility. And so we try to work cooperatively together. Like we all are separate entities, right? We have our own boards, we have our own finances, but we do visit each other. We talk to each other, right? And so we try to learn from each other and work together in these ways. Yes?
I'm wondering, are there certain jobs that are
only for people who are staff?
Yes.
And do you have to meet certain health regulations and inspections?
Oh yes, absolutely. We have pretty strict regulations as it relates to that. We have a whole policy in place, that complies, with the regulations that are there. And Sean, our manager, he trains people. So there's only certain people, once they've been trained, that will use the dicer, or that will work in the drying room, right? For the most part, when you volunteer, you're a trimmer. You get a knife, you get a block, and you're going to the trimming room, okay? But if you want more than that, there is the opportunity, but it will take a little bit of training and such, yes.
Okay, because I know some of our team got to do the recipe.
Great.
Because it was like a...
It's an assembly line.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember sometimes some of the fruit or the sweet potatoes would be, is there going to be anything left when I'm done trimming? But it was so nice to know that you'd still try and it still could be used. So thank you.
Yeah. Great. Any other questions? I know. I see those pots. I see the bread.
When you ship it out, is it usually in those containers?
Yeah, you saw those big blue drums, right? So sometimes we just have them in
On the ship, is it in a big container?
Yes, yeah, like they would be in those containers. So from our place, often now, we use the cardboard boxes, right? And there's so many of our bags that go into each one of those boxes. Then we fill up like a crate, and depending on, the mission group and how much they're wanting to take and distribute. Yeah. But we have also shipped in pails, like little pails sometimes, and because they can keep them and use them over there, or the big blue drums, right, if they're useful. Yeah, so we work together with the groups to try and ensure that we can get as much good stuff to them as possible.
So do they have to pay for the containers, or do you supply those?
I believe that's their responsibility. I don't think I don't remember seeing a line in our budget related to that. So, yeah. Yes?
Does any of the end product stay in Canada?
No, part of our founding was that we were shipping this out. If we have leftovers, like I've taken like bags of potatoes or sweet potatoes or broccoli, that we aren't going to be able to use. We get an abundance of it given to us. So, like, I've taken stuff and dropped it off at our local food bank in Paris, or, so we're aware of the needs that are present in our community. But in terms of our mandate that we established back in 2008, it is to be shipped out, and so that's what we do. But we certainly try to encourage, responsibility, in that way. Yeah.
I think this was asked when we were there on the tour the one time, because we've got indigenous communities or things like that, and apparently there are other facilities that are mandated to do that.
That's correct.
So
Yeah.
they're not.
So we're aware of the needs, but we see that there's other groups that God has raised up, or in order to reach out and to meet those particular needs. Okay. Do you want to eat, or you got time for 4 minutes? A 4-minute little testimonial video just takes you to Guatemala and to a group that is using our soup mix there. But thank you for your time.
We work in different ways. Our principal focus is to serve the community. We feel the discipleship is really important. Every week we serve to the dumb people to give a peanut butter sandwiches, a clean water, and hot soup. We can see this can change the world and these people. We believe Jesus wants to give our heart, our time, and our principal intention is to serve with love. We believe this is a really good for them, because they can see the love from Christ, because when they receive, we explain this is in the name of Jesus, this is in the name of Christ. God bless you, God loves you, and they start to learn one God wants to rescue and wants to bless their life. This is our ministry. We want to rescue the children, we want to rescue the girls, the prostitution life, and it's a really hard work, but we are here for work every day, every time. Take time to share about Jesus, not only for one moment. We believe this is our calling, and we live here for that. Thank you.
Gleaners soup are big blessing for our children and families who need food. The children enjoy that. It is good nutrition for our country, because many people don't have enough food in their homes, and it comes to bless them. Thank you very much to think about Guatemala and to think about our children. God bless you.
That's it. So we appreciate your support. I mean, in prayer, for us, in terms of volunteering, if you are able to and are interested in coming out and volunteering, go to our website. You'll get all the details there. If you want to make a phone call, make a phone call. Our manager or our assistant, they'd love to talk to you. And if you're able to donate, we appreciate any donations that come. Like I say, we pay for 3 employees, and and the building and everything that goes into running that place, keeping one truck on the road, and but even the truck, that's driven by a volunteer, right? So we're just thankful, for how God has brought so many together, to work together in this way to feed a hungry world. We get reports back. I remember reading one a couple years ago from a nutritionist in the Ukraine, where they received some of our vegetable soup mixes from a mission working there after the war started there. And her first comment when she was informed that some dried vegetable soup mix was going to be delivered to the hospital is she was not too thrilled, because she had had some other soup mixes delivered in the past. And she wrote back to us and said, "Yours is by far the very best that I've ever seen. It's filled, the one thing we have to purchase is we purchase the split peas, right? The split peas. So that we have to buy. And every load that we get from Saskatchewan somewhere costs us $18,000, right? Okay? So, but we always augment our vegetable soup mix with the split peas. But anyway, she was just so thankful, for the quality, right? That's it for me, unless there's one more question.
Let's give him a big hand.